Crucial have truly stepped up to the plate when it comes to their brand new X9 and X10 Pro portable SSDs in 2023. Designed specifically for creators and those who often work with big files on the go, these new iterations are compact and even more powerfully built to ensure you the best performance and, more importantly, a safer device to store all of your files.
Hello and welcome to Box, where we unbox, review and demonstrate the latest tech.
Taking a look at the box, you get an instant idea on how compact these devices really are. Now we have both the X9 and X10 here, so we can show you how much they differ in performance, as well as help you decide which one is best for your workflow. Just looking at the specs on the front here, you do see the immediate difference in the speeds, with the X10 having almost double the read and write speeds. This makes the X10 an ideal companion for intensive creative work, while the X9 is a great storage solution for moving around and holding important files and photos. Coming from exclusively using external hard drives, I can see the benefits of using an SSD for creative work on the go after trying these out. Opening up the box, you get the drive and the included connection cable presented in this little tray, along with the multi-language guide with links to the full step-by-step installation guide and service support information. With both SSDs, you get the same USB 3.2 Gen 2 double-ended USB-C cable, measuring around 9 inches long. Now, it may not be ideal having such a short cable, but I find it does keep the SSD close to the machine, reducing the chance of knocking it and accidentally disconnecting it, or forgetting that it's connected completely. Taking each SSD in hand, they're both no bigger than my palm and measure around 2.5 by 2 inches with a thickness of less than half an inch. The colouring is also pretty discreet, coming in a metallic silver and black, and the edges are slightly curved to reduce any hard impacts. It does also have a little cutout in the top corner of both for securing to your other belongings, and as it's so small, I find it easy to keep on my keys without being too cumbersome. It also has this little flashing light just inside the cutout, which lets you know when it's on and working, and also when it's disconnected. It's also housed in a pretty sturdy metal casing that could easily take some serious knocks without denting it. Lastly, I also noticed that the USB-C connector is slightly recessed into the casing, which may potentially collect dust over time, but at least it's much less exposed to the elements and kind of docks the cable in place nicely to stop it being disconnected easily.
Both of these SSDs are 1TB capacity, but I quite like the variety of capacity options on offer here, also coming in 2TB and 4TB sizes. Though I mainly work with smaller video files, it's great having the option of the 4TB for example, as it reduces the amount of SSDs that I have to carry with me. Now there is a bit of a price jump between each capacity, but to be honest, these Crucial SSDs are quite reasonably priced, and they won't set you back as much in cost compared to the other brands on the market right now. Now its lower price point doesn't reflect its capabilities either. It easily keeps up with the competition, and from the short time that I've been testing them, it's proven itself to be quite reliable, especially when editing video content in my opinion.
On the side of the box, you'll see these work perfectly well with Windows 11, Mac OS, and Android operating systems, though mostly I'll be using mine on Windows for this review. Plugging it in, I found a series of links and a PDF for useful information and help for setting it up.
There wasn't any setup stage in particular, as it was already formatted to NTFS and allowed me to instantly start moving files over. Now there are a few benefits here to checking out the welcome document, like discovering that you get a free month of Adobe Creative Cloud when you register the SSD, as well as downloading the link to the free Crucial drive management software. Though mostly I found the SSDs were both plug and play, with the computer recognizing it right away on startup. Now if you're planning on saving any sensitive information to your SSD, then you'll also be pleased to hear that it has password protection and 256-bit AES hardware encryption. Knowing that it has that extra layer of security really puts my mind at ease when taking my files out with me. So if I'm unfortunate enough to lose it or have it stolen, I know my data is much harder to extract.
Now I'm set up here, I started to put them through read and write speed tests to see whether they live up to the speeds on the box. Now the X9 Pro suggests that you get an even 1050 megabytes per second read and write speed, whereas the X10 Pro gives you up to 2100 megabytes per second read speed and 2000 megabytes per second write speeds. So when I say that these SSDs are practically plug and play, they are if you have a compatible USB-C slot to work with. Specifically looking at the X10 specifications, if you want to see read and write speeds around the 2000 megabytes per second mark, then you will need to make sure that your USB-C is at least Super Speed 20 for supporting USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 input, like you can see here on my desktop PC. Just plugging it into the Super Speed 10 USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 port on my laptop, The read and write speeds tested through Crystal Disk were capped at around 1000 megabytes per second. Now these speeds were still fine for regular file transfers, but they're not the ideal speeds needed for creative work as it was designed for. Even though the speeds varied depending on my USB-C port, I was still impressed with the copy speeds across all of my devices. Moving files from the PC storage to the X10 were excellent, taking roughly 2 to 3 minutes for a 150 gig sized folder, while the speeds between the X10 and the PC SSD with the same folder took roughly 2 minutes. I even used the X10 for about 30 minutes, cutting together some footage on Premiere Pro, and I was very pleased to see a boost in the overall render times, with footage previews appearing immediately on startup and seeing the program handling the footage fairly smoothly. Now looking at the speeds for the X9, it was also very quick when copying over larger files. Testing out the copy speeds, I got around 1061 megabytes per second read speeds and 976 megabytes per second write speeds, which nicely matched the expected speeds mentioned on the box. Again, taking a 150 gig folder, it took around 4 to 5 minutes either way between the PC SSD and the X9, which gives me hope when thinking of using this SSD for backing up my video footage archive, as well as my personal photo collection.
One of the benefits to having an external SSD compared to a hard drive is that there's no internal moving parts, making it more reliable. Now, something I'm interested in is its durability, claiming to be both dust and water resistant, as well as drop proof up to 2 meters. Both the X9 and X10 have an IP55 protection, which should be enough to shield it from any light splashes. Now I'll put the X9 Pro through its paces a little, subjecting it to water and a few drops to test these claims.
Now I dropped it on a hard carpeted surface from about shoulder height, and it seemed to cause no harm at all. I dropped it a few times and saw no physical dents or scratches, which is more than I expected. Of course, if you take it out more often, it would be subject to some rougher treatment than this, but I was at least relieved that it didn't immediately break after a few accidental drops. Now came the water tests, which made me slightly more nervous. It suggested that you never fully submerge the SSD, but it should survive a few splashes and exposure to light rain, for example. I thought in its lifetime it might see a few spilled liquids or light splashes, so after subjecting it to some realistic tests, I was hopeful that it would come out unscathed. Luckily, after the tests, I plugged it back in and everything was working just the same as before, which gives me confidence that it should survive a good lifetime of rough handling. Now, after using both the X9 and X10 portable SSDs over a few hours, I can safely say these are reliable storage options when on the go. The fact that they have high capacity options while remaining so small makes them perfect for taking my important files anywhere I go. Now, I was pleased to see that the speeds matched the estimates on the box, even though they varied between machines. I'll definitely be using the X10 in the future for editing on the go, especially after seeing how much performance improved when working off my laptop.
So what are your thoughts on the X9 and X10 Pro external SSDs? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Box, where we have plenty of hands-on reviews on the latest tech. And as always, thanks for watching.